Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great edition of the WSE Lounge. I am and please don't adjust your audio. My voice is a little bit messed up today, but there's nothing wrong with your audio, I promise. I want to let you know today the sponsors of the show, WCW Retro, host yours truly, the Maestro of Professional Wrestling, the Stro. You can listen to that each and every week on VOC Nation Radio and blogtalkradio.com. It comes on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Maestro of Professional Wrestling Stro hosts the show, talks about the latest wrestling news and everything else going on in the wrestling world, gives you reviews and picks and everything else. You can check that out. Also, you can check out Sonia Satra sponsorship of the show. Sonia Satra has the Motosize program. It's a fit mind and a fit body, and you can go check her out at moticice.com, and you can check out that. It's a great program. Helps rejuvenate your mind and your body. So check that out. And also our other sponsor of the show is Soap Cities. You can go there for all your latest soap opera information. Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, and General Hospital. www.soapcities.com. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I want to welcome the owner of Ringside Championship Wrestling and Mr. KTOM himself, Brian Thompson. Welcome to the WSE Lounge, sir.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or whatever time someone's listening. Good morning or afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in, but appreciate you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. I know it's been a long time in the making. I've been trying to get you on for a long time. And
yeah, good to be on here.
It's great to have you on. I always enjoy seeing your Facebook lives and talking with amongst the fans and the people, and that's always great to see.
Appreciate it, man.
You're very welcome.
I get a lot of good feedback from those things from time to time. Enjoy doing it. So.
Well, you're very welcome. And they've got it set up now, like with the WSC Lounge. I do this now. They got it set up on here. When you go live, you can either do it by camera or you can do it by voice where the fans just listen. And they've also got it on the Facebook Live. When you go live, you can swipe over to the right and you can see everybody that's watching you live. And you can also invite them to go live simultaneously with you on their own page. So it's pretty interesting the way they've, come out with things with technology. Technology seems to be changing every day. How did you get your start in professional wrestling and announcing and becoming a owner of a company such as Ringside Championship Wrestling?
About a little more than 17 years ago, I started. I ring announced for a company called Gateway Championship Wrestling out of St. Louis. And as far as who that company kind of helped produce, Delirious, who's the booker, the head creative of Ring of Honor, came from there. He and I started around the same time. Matt Seidel, who went on to be Evan Bourne for a while in WWE, and of course it's back to his given name. He started out there. So there's a couple of guys that have gone on to some really good things in wrestling that started there. I was there with them, the ring announcer. Before that, I had started going to shows in a town in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, for a group called Midwest Renegade Wrestling at the time, and I wanted to get in the wrestling business. Wasn't sure when I would do it, but knew I wanted to be an announcer. Never had a desire, and a manager. I never had a desire to be a wrestler, so I just wanted to be the voice of and do other things. And so I reached out, and so I was doing a website at the time, a little small thing on it. Angel Fire was a URL. It was angelfire.com, and you backslash whatever you came up with for the for the name of your website, free website. I think Weebly and things like that are around now, but at the time it was Angel Fire, and this is around 99, 2000. And so I started doing the web page, and so I started to report, and so then the MRW, or the Midwest Renegade Wrestling, wanted me to do show reports for them, for their website, mrwwrestling.com or whatever it was at the time. I started meeting the promoter, different people involved through that process. Once that company folded, there was two different split-off organizations. One was Gateway, and Gateway, I guess, felt like maybe I wanted to announce a guy named Brian Stoll, who was announcing for them, was not going to be available for every live event. And they reached out to me, and the rest is history, I suppose, some 17 plus years later.
Wow. So basically, when they reached out to you, you became the new announcer. I'm guessing for that organization.
Yeah, they say I still kept this email. All that time I still have it saved. But the promoter said his name was Ben Oliver. Big Bad Ben is what he wrestled as. He said, have you ever thought about being an announcer? Step up to the plate. I've got a spot May 20th, 2000 in Mexico, Missouri. And I said, I will be there. And I was. And I've got a video of that particular event, and it's more for a comedy now to look back and laugh at yourself, how much thinner I was, how much more hair I had on top of my head. And, but yeah, I think I've improved vastly over that debut appearance, but it was fun and nerves and the whole 9 yards, but that's kind of how it started, and I appreciate those guys and forever grateful to Big Bad Ben, other people that were involved, a guy named a wrestler who wrestled as Makazi, a guy who wrestled as Mike Sharona, Pete Madden was a great hand, a guy who's probably very underrated. You probably never heard of him, and which is unfortunate, but he's a good hand. If you look him up, he was very innovative in some of his offense, just a good guy. And so that whole group of guys, they were very instrumental in my start. Learned from them. I mentioned Brian Stoll. He does a St. Louis Cardinals and St. Louis sports radio broadcast, and so he's also a big wrestling fan and has been involved in wrestling business. So he was very instrumental at the time on the announcing test. A guy by the name of Grand Poobah. I'm using gimmick names here, but he was Grand Poobah and a guy named Tommy G. They were the commentary group for Gateway, and I learned some from them. So you try to learn a little bit from everybody, and it's funny looking back how much I thought I knew back then that I had zero clue, and I learned it along the way. And so you always look back and say, man, if I would have known this that I know now back then, how much different could things have turned out. But anyway, that's life, and that's the beauty of growing up and maturing and learning things. So
I noticed the name you mentioned, Mike Shiona. He ain't related to Mike Keona, is he? Referee for WWE?
No, his name is Mike Sharona.
Okay.
S-H-A-R-O-N-A, or kind of like the song. There's that song out there from back in the day, maybe the 80s. My Sharona.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. And you had mentioned Angel Fire. That made me think of MySpace and Pal Talk and AOL Messenger and MSN Messenger.
Sure.
My goodness, that's the days.
And that was all new and fresh at that time in the world in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s, and now it's obsolete. So it's kind of interesting I was fortunate to be born and grew up at a time when technology was taking off, but was not at the rocket space it is today. So I just kind of got to see a little bit of it, build up and take off. I mean, cable TV was a new concept in the early 80s, and then look what it became, and now how it's slowly, in some form or fashion, dying out to more streaming. So it will still exist, just in a different format. So technology is interesting to research and watch.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And can you tell me how you met Bobby Eaton? How you got acquainted with Bobby Eaton? How that come about?
Sure, absolutely. So I mentioned starting with Gateway Championship Wrestling in May of 2000. So I was there roughly 9-10 months, something like that. But long story short, At the time, this may take a little bit, so hopefully it's not too boring to people out there. We don't lose a lot of listeners falling asleep, but
Okay.
so the long story short, back today, fans will think of NXT, which kind of serves as its own brand, but is also the developmental territory for the WWE. Well, at the time, the then World Wrestling Federation had a couple of different areas, independent promotions that they contracted with to serve as their developmental territory, and they would send talent to them. So one was Memphis Championship Wrestling, and at the time, the other was Ohio Valley Wrestling. So the WWF had to deal with Memphis Championship Wrestling, and Memphis Championship Wrestling was coming to a town named Canton, Missouri. Well, I reached out to the promoter, Terry Golden, who was a former wrestler, and at the time was, again, the owner of the MCW, and was also working with the developmental guys and everything, and had a contract with WWF. So they were doing a house show in Canton, Missouri, and I was told to reach out to the Canton show promoter, a guy named Kelly Warner. So long story short, I bugged Kelly for a while, and I went down and met him and started hanging out posters for the event, trying to get my foot in the door with MCW. Loved working for Gateway, but of course, again, MCW was a WWF developmental territory, so you were going to be working, hand in hand with a lot of the future talent. I'll tell you about some of those in a minute that were there.
Okay.
So, long story short, the Cannon show got canceled. They moved it to a town 15 miles down the road, Rector, Arkansas. Did the show. I gave Terry Golden a videotape of myself. Ring announcing from Gateway. Told him I was interested. Wasn't sure if a spot was open or what the case was. I just wanted a foot in the door. I bugged Terry for weeks. Called. Did you watch my tape? Did you get this? Did you get that? I thought, this is going nowhere. All of a sudden, I get a phone call from Terry Golden saying, hey, be in Ripley and Covington, Tennessee. I can't remember which order they were, but he's like, I'm going to give you a tryout as a ring announcer these nights. Of course, I'm on Cloud 9. At the time, I was listening to a radio show similar to yours with some guys. They were interviewing Bobby Eaton, and it was mentioned that Bobby had signed with the World Wrestling Federation as a trainer and would be working with the Memphis group. Now, being a big fan of old school Crockett, NWA days, WCW, I was like on Cloud 9 knowing that I would actually get to meet, at least on one weekend, Bobby Eaton. We get to that weekend, it was in February of 2001. I do the tryout. I get the gig, and that's where I met Bobby the first time. I remember I walked up, and he's like, hi, I'm Bobby Eaton. I go, yeah, I know. I didn't even tell him who it was. I think my answer was, I know. I was just a big fan of Bobby. And we built a friendship out of that. But long story short, there was, at that time, in that developmental system, you had Victoria, who went on WWE,
Yeah.
Victoria Terra and TNA. You had Daniel Bryan, we all know him. He was down there wrestling. Lance Cade, Umaga, Rosie just recently passed away, Umaga a few years ago. Lance,
and also
passed away several years
yeah.
back. Yeah, and then the Main Street Posse who had been on WWF TV, Jason Sensation, the list goes on and on. Haas, Charlie and Russ Haas. Charlie Haas, who went on, of course, his brother unfortunately passed away before he got to make it to the big stage. So you had all these big names of the future were wrestling there at the time, learning their craft in Memphis and touring a local town. And then on occasion, we would get access to WWF talent that they would send. So within 2 or 3 weeks of working with that promotion, I'm on a show that's being main evented by Triple H and Kurt Angle. And it was mind-boggling. I'm 21 years old, having 21 years old, having the time of my life. But that's how I met Bobby through that process, and we just struck up a friendship that, continues obviously to this day. A couple of years later, he had moved to Nashville, Tennessee, and I was really not I was with a partnership group. We kind of ran a promotion in Dyersburg, Tennessee. I wasn't exactly happy with where it had gone. We made some decisions I wasn't exactly behind. Long story short, creative differences, as we will call it in the wrestling business, I decided I wanted to do something different. When I found out Bobby moved to Nashville, I said, Bobby, let me handle your bookings. I'll go on the road with you, and I'll help you line up dates. And it started from there. So about early 2004, I started becoming basically Bobby's talent agent, and have been doing that off and on ever since. So.
Wow. Well, that's quite a story right there. I mean, you originally just thought of Bobby as an inspiration. You never in a million years dreamed that you was gonna be his booking agency and traveling the road with Bobby, and everything else. I mean, that is wonderful.
Yeah, we become really, tight best friends. He's, he lived with me for stretches of time when we had bookings at this place and just come stay and moved in. And we were able to travel together and really, you bond. When you're with somebody like that, they become your roommate. You get to see the best and worst of each other and you bond and things like that. But, I remember how humble he was and how nice of an individual and thinking if anybody deserved to be a jerk, and it could kind of have their head up in the air and have their nose down, it was him because he had done it, a little bit of all in this business and had been successful at high levels that, I'll never reach and can't reach. It's a different era. But, he was so humbling and kind, and he doesn't look down on anybody. I've seen shoot interviews with him where he talks about, respect everybody and what they do. A job doesn't make the manager. If you're digging a ditch or flipping burgers, there's no reason to make fun of that. And he's right. I mean, we're all human beings. We should respect each other just because of that fact. And what we do, to make a living and pay our bills and feed our families, shouldn't be anything other than that's just what it is. Because I may do this well at this doesn't make me any better than you or the next guy. We're all human beings. And so I really took that. That was more a freaking wrestling lesson. That was a life lesson from just a genuine good person. I don't know that I've met any true, kinder human being in my life than Bobby Eaton. So.
Well,
Don't tell him do not listen to this radio show and tell him I said that though. That's kind of that bond we have. I can't let him know that I said that. So.
Through your announcing career, did you have any lessons from some of the greats like Gary Michael Capetta or Scott Hudson or Tony Schiavone or Dave Penz or any of them, on helping you with your announcing?
It's interesting. I actually, in a promotion called Traditional Championship Wrestling, it was based out of the Little Rock area. We were on national TV for a couple of years, and Matt Riviera ran that group, and we actually, we got some good vibes. I still get recognized off that television show. It's still on in some formats around different parts of the mid or the South or whatnot in Missouri, in different areas, Little Rock.
Uh-huh.
But for a time, my broadcast partner on that was Chris Cruz of WCW.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Matter of fact, speaking of Chris Cruz, I had him on the show probably about a week or 2 weeks ago. He was on the show.
Oh boy, Chris Cruz is quite entertaining. So
yes, he is.
Chris Cruz, if I look back at a body of work when I was doing commentary, I was a heel commentator on that one, a heel color man. I look back, it's probably some of my best work, and I really credit Chris Cruz a lot of that because when you're next to a guy like that, you bring your A game. And I'll add in there Ken Resnick of AWA, WWF fame. He was doing a lot of. Now there was one time Cruz and I were at the broadcast booth, and that was kind of a pinch yourself in the arm moment because you were there and being elevated. I mean, they were elevating me. I mean, just the fact that I was sitting at the same table with those two guys, Chris Cruz and Ken Resnick, automatically brought me up to a different level just because I was sitting there with them. I didn't have to say one word, but on camera, when you see that shot of me next to those two guys, it takes me to a whole different level. And so I always tried to, I'd like to think I work hard every time I'm out there, but there's something about that atmosphere with guys like that, they bring your game up. Now, really, I've crossed paths with different greats, as you mentioned. He mentioned several of them. But I've never really had that chance to sit down, pick their brain, and learn from them. But I just tell you, from watching them, and gaining experience on the fly and everything, I took from a lot of guys. Many that you're going to say, of course you did, because you know them, they're great. But there's other guys you wouldn't think of. I'm going to tell you, Lance Russell is great, one of the all-time best ever. He and Dave Brown were the tag team in Memphis. They're as popular and over as any wrestlers out there. They're up there with Lawler and Dundee as far as being over and being respected. They were very much a hot commodity as a broadcast team. Guys like Cruz, I mentioned. This is interesting though. I pitched. There's two guys that I'm going to mention here that fans they won't think of them as from their commentary.
Okay.
Got any Burt Prentice? Burt Prentice is a
yeah, Burt Prentice. Yes, I remember Burt Prentice.
And Bert's an interesting character. He is a character, no doubt about it. But Burt Prentice and the way he hosts television, his USA Championship Wrestling, I was working for him a few months back. Unfortunately, my schedule doesn't allow me to work when the TV tapings have to occur, so I've had to drop back. But Bert's delivery and Bert gets you behind him and the way he delivers, and a lot of if you watch Ringside Championship Wrestling, and then you go watch Bert Prentice from Ozark Mountain, North American All-Star Wrestling, if you could find ways to, and you can do the High Spots Network. I'm going to throw in a shield here. Do the High Spots Network. You pull up, there's some classic Ozark Mountain wrestling. If you pull that up and watch Bert Prentice and his delivery, and then pull up Ringside Championship Wrestling, the first couple episodes, and watch my delivery, because I did some on screen the first couple of broadcasts. I backed off. I'm doing them just behind the shot now. But if you listen, you will see how much influence Bert Prentice and his commentary and his style of delivery had on me because of the type of market that we were working to. We're not working in New York City. We're working in smaller communities in the South. And there's a certain way to approach them. Another guy that I gleaned some things from was Magnum TA. And when he was working Crockett, the way he would pitch the video packages and things like that. So those are two guys that I think are very talented. They did their job. They did them very well at what they did and when they had to do them and the way. Now, they're not, Bert Prentice is not going to translate to a New York crowd. Neither is Brian Thompson not going to translate to a New York crowd in that format. If I did, I would change my style for that format. But those guys are very influential on me. And Jim Ross, I mean, the guys that you would typically mention, Jim Ross is the Tony Schiavone, Jim Cornette and Paul Heyman, both are the times they spent doing commentary. I pick up from them, always felt that they were like managers doing commentary. So it really kind of blended itself. So when I was really as a heel, I was trying to mimic a little bit of those two guys in that spot. But then again, as the straight-laced play-by-play TV host, a lot of Bert Prentice, a lot of Magnum TA, and then the rest of the guys, the normals, the Lance Russell, the Jim Ross, the Gordon Sully, etc. So
now, I wanna ask you about somebody because you brought up Bert Prentice, and I used to watch Bert Prentice's wrestling when it came on. I believe it was USA Championship Wrestling, and I think he also ran North Georgia Wrestling at one time because he always talked about going to the fairgrounds. No, it was Music City Championship Wrestling. You remember that?
Music City Wrestling.
Yeah, I used to watch that. He used to talk about. Yeah, he used to talk about going to the fairground and stuff. And one guy I wanted to ask you about because I've not heard anything about in years. He used to put over as Matt Boyce. Whatever happened to him?
Yeah. Matt Boyce, he still wrestles periodically for Bert. I don't know if he works for anybody else, but Bert runs USA Championship Wrestling, and they're running on average about 8 to 12 live events a month, which is for independent wrestling is phenomenal. But Matt Boyce will work occasional cards for Bert in the Jackson, Tennessee area, and Bert runs kind of he runs a little territory. You've got Jackson, Tennessee as kind of a host, or like a main town, kind of like Memphis was back in the day, except instead of weekly, he's doing it on a monthly basis with a big live show. And then he also has like television tapings there a couple times. So he'll actually run Jackson about 3 times a month or so between the 2 TV tapings and a big event. And then he runs sporadic towns around western Tennessee and then some in southern Illinois. But on occasion, Matt, as his schedule allows, will be on those cards. And he still competes from time to time, just not just kind of maybe disappeared off some of the radar from that Nashville side and whatnot. But he's still working for Bert. I mean, I don't know if he picks up other bookings elsewhere, but
well, you know,
good kid.
At one time I had to do a Google search because I literally thought Matt Boyce was Dolph Ziggler. I literally thought that.
You too? I'm sorry.
I literally thought he was Dolph Ziggler. At one time, I had to do a Google search to make sure I wasn't seeing things.
You never know, man. Stranger things have happened, right?
Yeah, and speaking of people you've met, I want to ask you about 3 people. What was it like? Meeting Sting, Mark Henry, and Ric Flair?
Oh, the great in all 3 scenarios. I got to have a brief conversation with Sting, talking mostly about Bobby. We kind of, we'll laugh about this. Me and the guys, this about a year ago, actually, this past weekend, that happened. But we we gotta use Bobby as our annual. Okay, Bobby'd go introduce us to some guys, and we get a picture out of that. Me and Space Cowboy Jason Jones, Mr. Saturday Night Michael Berry. We were having a good time out there at Oklahoma. But so we went over and got a group picture with Stinger, and Stinger was in the locker room, and I just had a chance to kind of, visit with him briefly. I mean, I was going to waste a lot of man's time, but, a couple minutes there, how you doing? How's Bobby? Tell him a little bit about how he's doing and some things, and real brief, and took a picture, and, let the man get back to his business. But it was an honor Sting's one of the guys. When you have probably a top 10 bucket list of people you want to meet in wrestling, at least for me, Sting was on that list. Mark Henry was cool. It's something when you get to do something with a talent, meet them when they're still in the game, still at the big time WWE, and he came in for last year one of the big shows for Harley Race's World League Wrestling that I worked for as a ring announcer, and he did some good business for us as far as meeting the fans and just bringing out some folks, and I was real impressed, great attitude. I enjoyed that opportunity. He thanked me, I introduced him, tried to give him a big, as he deserves, a big intro for what he's done in our industry, and he gave me the head to appreciate your introduction. I said, well, I appreciate you for coming out here and helping this organization out. And then Ric Flair, I met him a handful of times through the years. The first time was back in 2008. That was just, if I had to probably narrow it down to all the people that I could meet, and if I had to meet anybody else but one, Ric Flair would be that one. I'm just a huge fan of the Nature Boy, always have been, always will be. He just, no matter what, some of the things we hear, stories, he's the Nature Boy. Sometimes we probably in life give him a pass on things that other people we crucify him for, but Ric Flair just to me is the greatest of all time, and it was just an honor and got to help him put a jacket on, get him ready for an appearance he did with Harley Race a few years after I mentioned 2008.
That's awesome.
And I got to be out there when he and Harley were having a chat at ringside. I mean, pinch yourself, how much bigger does it get than that? So, yeah, it was awesome in all three cases. So, I'm very blessed. I'll go back and say that. I sometimes I wish I'm 30. I'll be 37 this year later on. I'm 36 now. But, it's like if 36-year-old Brian can have a conversation with 12-year-old Brian and say, these things are going to happen in your life all the way through. You're going to get to meet this guy and do this or that. I'd be like, yeah, right, quit messing with my head. But then, but very honored and blessed that I've gotten the opportunities that I have. So I had zero complaints, at this point in time. I feel like I'm in a good place where you reach in wrestling business, you kind of, especially these days with the way it's set up, you kind of start out, you're energized, you're fired up, it's all new. Then you get in this zone where you get kind of bitter, you're not maybe happy that this or that opportunity didn't present itself, and I should be here and there, and this guy's better than this guy or that guy. And then you kind of, as you get a little older, I think you cycle back in maturity and realize, you know what? I'm very, very fortunate to get to have done what I've gotten to do, and I need to be appreciative for it. And that's kind of where I've shifted from A, B to now C, and that's where I'm at right now. I'm very, very fortunate. So.
Yeah, Sting and Ric Flair have always been, my two favorites. And what was I gonna say? Oh, I didn't know you were on 36. I didn't know me and you were 2 years apart. I'm 34.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't know we were that close in age. Wow. You learn something new every day. What is because I've been wondering this, and I know you've probably been asked this a million times, but what does KTOM stand for? What is that?
Say that again?
What is KTOM stand for?
KTON?
KTOM.
I don't know what that stands for. Are you talking about my nickname icon, IKON?
Yeah. I don't know why I said KTOM. I put that on the poster too, I think.
You know what kind of radio station you're on. No, icon is just a nickname. Back in high school, when I was in high school the last couple of years, that was when wrestling got hot again in the late 90s, the NWO and the Monday Night Wars and DX and Steve Austin, Rock, the whole 9 yards, WCW's hot with Goldberg. But, there was that time when Hogan and Piper and Flair were all starting talking about being the icons, and Shawn Michaels was the icon that could still go, and yada, yada, yada. And somewhere I jokingly talked about being the icon of Dexter, Missouri High School. That's where I went to high school, Dexter, Missouri. I'm the icon of Dexter High School.
Okay, well, see, I seen somewhere on somewhere on Facebook you said number KTOM or something. I don't know where I got that at.
I don't know.
That's
but
crazy.
So they started calling, so even coaches and teachers started referring to me as the nickname Icon, and I just ran with it. And so even my first year in the business in Gateway Championship Wrestling, I was the Icon Brian Thompson introduced. And I changed, to be quote unquote different and not the norm, I changed it from ICON, the way it should be spelled, to IKON, kind of like there's a company out there. I think it's I forgot what the company is, like Training Solutions or something, but I was the IKON, the Icon, and that's just been
Oh, that's what it was, IKOM. I don't know why I put KTOM on there. I think I got it on the poster, IKON.
Yeah,
I don't know why I put KTOM on there. No wonder you didn't know what I was talking about.
I mean, I was like, I'm in my older years here, so I could have very much forgotten.
Yeah. One other question I want to ask you before I get to the promotional, part of you putting over anything you got, any appearance or anything. What do you think, because I know the whole wrestling world's talking about this, so I'll go ahead and ask you. What do you think Kurt Angle's big surprise is tonight?
Yeah, that is kind of getting a little buzz. It was good for them. I mean, I don't know. We've all heard all the scenarios. One being Dixie Carter and some sort of still there. Some are saying Stephanie McMahon leading to a match at Triple H. I actually hope it's neither one of those and they pull off something we totally don't see happening. But
that would be good.
I know. I mean, I'm going to guess it's one of those two. Either something to do with Stephanie. I've heard one that Gable. Chad Gable would be Kurt Angle's illegitimate son or something ridiculous like that. So I mean, there's 3 or 4 different, maybe 5 or 6 scenarios that are rolling around there. But I'll say I guess it would be either Dixie or Stephanie, and
Yeah, that's kind of
have some history there.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I mean, because I don't see them saying it's Karen Jarrett and then having a Global Force Wrestling crossover, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what, but at least we're interested in talking about it, and that's what that's what I missed about the days before some of the things were spoiled well ahead of advance on the internet, because we're all human. We're all, if we see, hey, spoilers of this or that, we're going to click on that link and read it. I mean, it's like, I'm going to wait and see what happens. No, we want to know, so.
Yeah, because, when they brought Shane McMahon on, that was a surprise. Nobody knew about Shane McMahon,
That one kind of came out of left field, and it's cool when those things happen, so.
I think
I'll give him props.
I don't think it'll happen, but, I think it'd be cool if somehow it was Karen Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett appeared on WWE TV. I mean, that would shock the whole wrestling world,
Yeah, there's some things that's one of the few things that I think will happen, at least at this point.
Yeah.
As long as Jeff has a slice of Global Force, Impact, whatever you want to call it, I don't think we'll see him on television there again. At some point in time down the road, when things happen, if they ever sold it to WWE, I think you eventually see Jeff Jarrett back on TV. But there's still some sour grapes. There's still some sour grapes there, I'm sure. But
well, Brian, do you have anything you'd like to promote? Any upcoming appearances or anything?
Well, not any events, but I'll just promote the fact that you can see Ringside Championship Wrestling. We're working on some live events. We don't have anything set that I can really say, hey, it's going to happen here, there, or whatever. But Ringside Championship Wrestling, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/RCW Ringside. The Twitter handle is RCW Ringside, and our website is RCWRingside.com. So trying to cross-brand. We'll tell you that for those in certain parts of Missouri, you can watch a television show once a month on Fidelity Local 6 for Fidelity Communication. That's on the first Sunday at 10 a.m., followed by a replay the following Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. So log on to FidelityLocal6.com if you have that cable system. And across the world, anywhere in the world, you can watch us with your subscription to the High Spots Wrestling Network. Go to highspotswrestlingnetwork.com for that detail. Right now, episodes 1 through 4 of the current television series are up, and I'm actually starting to upload once a week old shows from 2010. So a lot of good stuff back in the day there. I will be coming on the High Spots Wrestling Network with a $9.99 a month subscription, and then you can watch the show. Or if you for whatever reason, I encourage you to subscribe, but if for whatever reason you just want to see RCW, you can rent the shows for 99 cents a piece or buy them for $1.99. I'm going to try to keep it very, very economical for folks that don't want to maybe are not subscribing. But I encourage everyone to subscribe to High Spots Wrestling Network. More than 5,000 hours of content. An ECW series hosted by Mike Johnson, the PW Insider, called Legends of Extreme. I hope I didn't butcher that name. I think that's the correct name for it. But lots of great shooter reviews. Local independent wrestling from around the country is up there, updated really quickly after their event. Really good content, some great High Spots documentaries, one just recently on Bruiser Brody. So RCW is right in the mix with that. So encourage you to look into that. It's a great compliment to WWE Network or an alternative. If you want to support I'd say support something other than a corporate wrestling entity, High Spots are the great guys that run that, and encourage you to check it out. That's what I got, man.
Okay, well, Brian, I want to thank you so much for joining the show today, and sorry about my voice, but I'm glad I held up long enough to interview you.
I appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, you're very welcome, and hope you have a great rest of the week.
You too, man. Take care, guys.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the owner of Ringside Championship Wrestling, Mr. Brian Thompson. And I will keep you posted and let you know when some more WSC Lounge shows are coming up. Thank you all, and God bless. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great edition of the WSC Lounge. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Brian Vaughn. This is a special 30-minute edition today of the WSC Lounge. At this time, I want to welcome my guest. He's known around the independent world. He's been all over the world. He's fought so many greats. Please welcome this time the Man Scout, Jake Manning, to the WSC Lounge.
Well, hello, Brian. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you on today. When did you know that you wanted to be a wrestler?
Probably from an early age. Like, I tried to look it up along in the invention of YouTube and everything else. Like, my first match, I have a vivid memory of seeing a Junkyard Dog match. I believe on, like, some sort of Coliseum video or some sort of tape that my parents either rented or got their hands on. I think I've narrowed it down to it being like Junkyard Dog versus Terry Funk, and just seeing everybody stand up when Junkyard Dog's entrance song like comes on, and as he's walking into the arena, and just all of the fantasticness of professional wrestling just struck me at a young age. And of course, I'm in that perfect age range change where Hulkamania was like the coolest thing ever, right? As I'm coming to understand life and what's going on in this world as a young child. So like Hulkamania was drew me in. Then of course, getting cable in my teens and the Monday Night Wars and everything like that. So it was just kind of, I'm very lucky. I feel like was the perfect age to be a wrestling fan. And that might be debatable. Like the people that had the large satellite dishes during, some of the times of like the earlier 80s, you could discuss that. But I feel like I was able to be at the perfect age and see pro wrestling grow into the art form that it is today, much like I have myself, I feel like, as an artist. So, it's early age.
Yeah, I know what you mean, cause I remember the days of, I know people, the generation growing up today, they don't know about what we grew up as. I mean, you had superstars of wrestling, you had WCW Saturday Night, you had the Monday Night Wars. I mean, you had all that great stuff, and you don't get that anymore. So, I know exactly.
Also, too, there was a little bit, even with me growing up, I missed out on a lot of stuff because I grew up strictly a WWF kid because I grew up in Iowa, and the only way that I got exposed to it was WWF Superstars was syndicated, and it was paid to be on one of the local channels, and paid to be there for a certain amount of contracts. So like you'd be on for 3 weeks in a row, or I'd discover it, and then it'd be like the last 3 weeks of the contract, and then the next week you would appear on another station or in a different time, or I had to stay up late and watch the Fox affiliate, and they would run like Wrestling Challenge at like 1 a.m. or whatever. So I always had to float around with me, but usually it was like Sunday as soon as I got back from church. Because that's the point, like, we all went to church, and we came home, and the parents just want to have us turn on a movie and be preoccupied. Well, usually wrestling was on, or if we got home a little bit early, I could see the whole program, and usually like last half an hour or something like that I'd pick up. But usually it was usually on Sunday mornings, and if I skipped church, I could go. But we just went to Sunday school, we skipped church, I could see the entire program. But if we, went to church, the chance of me just catching the last 10 minutes of it was probably more realistic. So that was always the thing that floated around. But like the thing is, like now I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I missed out on everything that was fantastic as far as like the Crockett's NWA, WCW. Like I didn't realize WCW existed until early '95.
Wow.
So, like because I'm not exposed to it. I didn't have cable TV. I lived in the country, so there was no way for me to. I had no idea what TBS was whatsoever, other than the channel that played Andy Griffith reruns when I would go to see my grandmother on an afternoon. But I was never watching it at 6:05 on a Saturday night until we got DirecTV, which I feel like the small satellite dishes. Nobody gives that a lot of credit in the boom of professional wrestling. Just the idea of DirecTV and Dish Network, the idea of smaller satellite dishes as opposed to getting the very large satellite dishes if you want cable in the middle of nowhere, which is basically where I was, which is a small town called Springville, Iowa, which consisted of 82 people. Like, we didn't have a cable provider in our town. I'd have to drive, to the next town, which was like 5 miles away if I wanted to see anything cable related. Everything else was just rabbit ears in the middle of nowhere. So like a lot of those rural communities of people that would probably like pro wrestling, they couldn't see it until like the popularity of the smaller satellite dish revolution, which actually coincided with the Monday Night Wars, and I think that's probably why there was such an explosion in 1997. A lot of people had the little satellite dishes. They had DirecTV, they had Dish Network, or whatever else was available at that time, and they had more eyeballs on the product because people had more access to the product. And I think that's kind of where we're at with the internet is, internet speeds get better and better and better, and we're able to view 1080 quality footage online. I think that's only going to spur and explode the popularity of professional wrestling because it all sits on a network right now, no different than Netflix right now. And as that grows and that becomes more popular, and as that becomes the most popular way to view our media, thus pro wrestling will grow. So things are really great right now, and I think they're going to get even better for professional wrestling just because of the advances in technologies. But I led us astray and led us down a big tangent there, so you might have to stop me from that a couple of times.
Now I wanna know, where did the nicknames Mr. Elite, the Man Scout, and the Elite Enforcer come from? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brian Vaughn, your host as always of the WSC Lounge. And at this time, I want to welcome actor Vic Stagliono. You may know him from Sons of Anarchy as the Night White Guard. Welcome to the show, Vic.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Can you tell us about growing up in Hawthorne, New York?
Certainly. New York, Hawthorne's a small town outside of New York City. It's attached to right outside of White Plains, which is a city outside the city. And I grew up there. I was a football player, and when I was done playing in high school, I got a scholarship down to University of Texas El Paso. So I went down there to play, and spent 4 years down in Texas.
Okay. What did it feel like for you being a student high school football running back and earning that 4-year scholarship at the University of Texas at El Paso?
Oh, it was amazing because coming from a small town, it wasn't a very highly recruited area, and it wasn't a real hotbed as it is now, where they're starting to pull a lot of players from high school from that area that are going to a lot of Division I schools. I didn't really get seen a lot, so we get a lot of exposure in that area. So no matter how well you did, it was tough to get the real big schools looking at you. So the ones I did speak to, I went on a couple of visits, and then I got an opportunity to go down to UTEP, and it just was something that I wanted to get away from New York and move on. And I thought about Texas, how great that state is for football. So I took a chance and went down to El Paso and played 4 years. It was great. It was absolutely fabulous to sign a scholarship.
Wow. So would you say that there's more opportunity for the students today than there was back then, or would you say it's about the same?
Oh no, coming out of Hawthorne, Thornwood, Westchester County, a lot more. They've realized that there are a lot of great players that are coming out of that area. So the big schools are in there constantly recruiting.
Wow. So, can you tell us about? I know that you have that there's actually a restaurant that your family runs called DiPaolo's Dugout, and it's an Italian restaurant bar. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it's my family owned it and ran it, operated it for 25 years. It was very popular. My two uncles played for the Yankees, and one of them just passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Oh no!
And yeah, and my grandfather, he played for the Bears back in the 30s. So they decided to open up a restaurant back in the early 60s, and I grew up in that environment, so I know that business pretty well. And it was a great place, a very, very popular place. It's still infamous to this day. People talk about it, and I learned the business through there. So when I come home from college, I worked there, and I started bartending and was cooking and doing all the different jobs that you do in a restaurant.
Wow. So you were saying that your two uncles played for the Yankees. Did they ever have the opportunity? Did they ever have the opportunity to meet the legendary Babe Ruth?
My grandfather did.
Oh wow.
My grandfather did. My uncles, they played in the 50s, and a lot of the Yankees used to come into the restaurant. They had a bunch of Yankee player pictures hanging all over, memorabilia, and a lot of the players, the old time players now, Mickey Mantle, Pete Boyer, those guys.
Well, that
Herzog used to come in and frequent the place. So it was a very sports-minded place. So a lot of, like I said, my family was involved in sports and knew a lot of the players and people. So they would come in and visit with them.
That's very very interesting and very knowledgeable to know that your grandfather met Babe Ruth. I mean, because he's a legend of baseball. He's a legend of the sport. So
Yeah.
that's incredible. You were also for the fans out there that don't know it, you're actually a former NFL football player. You played for the Houston Oilers and the Los Angeles Raiders. What did that feel like for you doing that?
One of my favorite teams growing up was my favorite team actually growing up was the Raiders. So I always wanted to be with them, and when I got the opportunity to sign with them, I did. It was amazing. The Houston Oilers, when I was with them, they kind of switched gears and changed the offense. So when I got there, I was a fullback. So I was more of a hard-nosed blocking back, caught the ball out of the backfield, ran hard inside, and they changed their offense to more of a run and shoot back then. The one back set didn't really fit in. So when I was released from them, I ended up signing with the LA Raiders, which I fit right into that offense. But as I was with them, going into my second year, I blew a knee out, and that really kind of put me on the sidelines. And after I had surgery and rehab, ended up was released and bounced around to a couple of other teams, and then I kind of lost a little bit of a passion for it, I think, and didn't really get the opportunities that I felt I should have. But so that's why I ended up moving on, and then I played arena ball for 1 year, and then I threw a shoulder out and had reconstructive surgery on my shoulder. And I said, that's it, I'm done. This was back in like 93, and then I'm going to come out to California and start start an acting career.
Okay, before we get into the acting, I did want to ask you, when did the Los Angeles, do you know what year, I'm just curious because I don't know, do you know what year the Los Angeles Raiders actually became the Oakland Raiders? Because I know now they're known as the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah, well, they were always the Oakland Raiders, and then they became I think they moved to L.A. in '81,
Uh-huh.
and somewhere around there, early '80s, and stayed there. I believe they stayed there. Maybe it was the mid '80s. I'm not sure exactly when they moved to L.A., but they were in L.A. all the way till I believe it was '95 or so, '94, '95, and then went back to Oakland. They were originally the Oakland Raiders, went to L.A., and then went back to Oakland. And now from what I understand, they just signed a deal. They're moving to Las Vegas to become the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Well, I tell you what, they've really had a change of name throughout the years.
Yeah, I personally, I think they should have stayed in Los Angeles. They had a lot of support here.
Yeah.
I think they fitted in LA.
Now, you always had a passion for football and acting, and you actually, I mean, this has to be an honor for you. You actually studied under Burt Reynolds at the Burt Reynolds Institute. That had to be incredible.
Yes, I did. He is amazing. People can say anybody who says any negative things about him, that they just don't even know him. He's a fabulous guy. Was nothing but kind and generous to me. Always supportive with all his actors, and really taught me a lot. Gave me the confidence to believe in myself, which is very rare for acting teachers, especially out here in LA. They don't. It's a whole different animal. But he was very his guidance and his knowledge and the things he would say, and I mean, I use to this day. I mean, it's, now, and that was 8 years ago. So, and I still use to this day the things that he said to me, and they'll stay in my mind. I wish I had more communication with him, because I kind of fell out of touch with him. He had changed his phone number, and then I just haven't been able to get back in contact with him. One of these days, hopefully, I can get down there to see him again.
I was going to ask you. You said you haven't been in touch with him. Do you know how he's doing? I mean,
well, no, I don't actually. But a friend of mine saw him not too long ago at a function down in West Palm, and he didn't. He said he looked okay.
Yeah.
He seemed good. He was doing all right. I had heard not too long ago he was working on a film. In production, but got it rolling. But that's about all I've heard. Like I said, I'd like to get down there before anything. I used to get up there in age.
Yeah. And Burt Reynolds is one of the greatest actors of all time. Remember him on Smokey and the Bandit, and those are some of the greatest.
Well, I'll tell you a
movies
statistic. Here's a great statistic to put in your memory bank. He is the only actor ever to this day to be number one at the box office 7 years in a row. Nobody's ever done that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
7 years in a row, number one. Yes, it is. It certainly is. 3 years in a row is great. Having 7 is just. I don't think anybody will ever touch that.
Wow. You're right. I don't think they ever will touch that. Fans, if you got any questions or comments, please comment below, and I'll direct them over to Vic Stagliono. Can you tell us about your independent feature film, Chronological Order?
That was my first film back in. I had booked it actually with working with. I was in class studying with Burt at the time, and I got an audition for it for one of the leads, and I booked it, and it was a nice first film to get my feet wet, you know. And I enjoyed it. It was kind of about a guy who put all these. He had these basic dreams. I played his lawyer, and he had these dreams of where he was in different time zones, and he would put all these notes all over the place, and he found these notes that would tell him where he needed to be, and he would show up when he wasn't supposed to be there. So it was kind of, that's why it was called chronological order, because nothing was ever in order.
Wow.
In chronological order, where it is in order, it's supposed to be the opposite, where nothing was in order.
So it was kind of a movie like Matlock meets Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay. What was it like for you? Now, I don't know if this is a movie or a show, but you can correct me on this, but because I've never seen it, but what was it like for you playing a psychopath in Blackstone?
Oh, that was great. That was really good. I enjoyed that. Shocked that the movie didn't do better, but it was pretty cool. Because you played at one end you were playing a killer, the other end you were playing a nice normal guy. So there was a double-edged sword there that you guys all had a lot of fun to play with.
Well, you know, you were talking about one end you play a nice guy, and the other end you play a double-edged killer. I don't know if you've ever seen the Lifetime movies that come on, but that seems to be the storyline on a lot of the Lifetime movies. You know, somebody's all of a sudden nice, and then they turn into this double-edged killer, and you're looking at the TV screen, you're like, well, why can't you figure this out? You know, but I mean, they're they're just acting and stuff. But I'm just saying, you look at the screen, you say, well, why can't you figure out this guy's a psycho or this woman's a psycho? You know.
Right. Well, this film was when he did his killings, he always wore a mask. So he wore a mask, and you could never tell. And he robbed him with his crew, which was his wife and his kids that were doing the same thing as him. He had them under a spell, so to speak, to participate, and he would come in and tie up all the people in the house and torture them and kill them one by one.
Okay, so the mask thing, that was it kind of like the well, I know it wasn't the same storyline stuff, but the mask thing, was it kind of like the movie that Tom Cruise did? I believe it was called Vanilla Sky. He was in it with Penelope Cruz.
Yeah, I remember the movie. I didn't see.
He had like a white mask on. Cameron Diaz was in the movie as well.
Right. Okay, I remember. Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, well, I had kind of a white mask with a cape, or kind of a cape with a hood over my head.
Okay.
Cover.
Okay. Now you used to you were also in the film Unreported, where you played Vince the Nemesis. What was that like?
Yeah. That was another. See, when you can play a really bad guy, this guy was a really bad person.
Uh-huh.
And he ends up through one of the good guys, so the character named Justin, who was the good guy. He was always promoted and always had wealth and women and so on. And there was another guy in his office that didn't. I was jealous of him, and they were friends. So that guy came to Vince and asked him to basically take Justin down, and he ended up doing just that and frames him for a murder and for takes his whole life down to the ground.
Uh-huh.
Justin finally finds out, and he comes back with revenge to Vince and his, which is my character, and his crew. Comes back. In the end, he ends up killing his crew, and he ends up getting Vince and beating Vince up and torturing him and then killing him. But it was a great role to play because it was he plays a racist. He plays every bad thing he could be. He is, and with a role like that, it's a lot of fun because there's a lot of freedom you can do. You don't have to be, on a straight line like a detective.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
Very fun movie.
I know that on a lot of the soap operas, if you're watching the soap operas, a lot of times they'll, and it's it's kind of funny. I mean, to the audience, you'll see it, but the people that's in the story, in the soap opera, they don't know until the storyline advances. But you'll see this person, you'll see a character, whatever, they'll be stealing someone else's life, and then they'll come back and they'll say, well, I've been alive all this time, and you stole my life, and now I'm gonna get revenge on you, for what you did,
Right.
Yeah, but those are always very entertaining and appealing. What is it about Robert De Niro and Ed Harris that has made them your favorite actors?
The way they delve into a character and become that character. Robert De Niro when he did Cape Fear was just amazing. I mean, anybody who watched that movie, you didn't see any of Robert De Niro in there. He was a character that he became that guy. I believe he was that guy. I mean,
yeah,
it was just an amazing performance. And he won the Oscar for that, I believe. Ed Harris, same way. I like his choices that he makes.
Now,
that's why
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Ed Harris. Now, wasn't he on the Mary Tyler Moore Show?
Was he?
Yes.
He younger? I don't know. That's a little bit before my time.
Okay.
So.
I was thinking Ed was on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I've seen a lot of movies that Robert De Niro has done. The movie a couple of years ago came out with the Intern with Annie Hathaway in it.
Yeah.
And there's been other movies that I've seen that he's done. And Robert De Niro is a great actor, and so is Ed Harris. And
yeah.
They have.
There's a few others that I like. I mean, they're not my only favorite choice. I got a lot of certain actors I like. I love Leo DiCaprio's choices on he's gotten so much better as an actor. It's just, I think he's really, really fantastic. He makes great choices of roles, and he's another one who delved into the work. You have to make it about the work. If you're making it about other things, then you're in the wrong business.
That's true.
And I respect how they take that on and they become that person. So when I'm in a role, that's what I try and model what I want to do. I don't say copy them. You want to be your own actor. I'm talking about model of how you approach the work and then how you become that role of that guy, that person, to be so believable that like I said, we're back to Cape Fear. He was Max Cady. I mean, you look at he was Matt. I believe every bit. There wasn't one thing that I didn't believe.
Yeah, he basically played the part so much to where you were reeled into the part, and you was like, wow, he is,
Right. You don't even know it's him. You get to the part why you don't even. That's Robert De Niro. He was that good. I mean, so I respect those kind of actors who aren't just phoning it in and just saying lines. because it's not about just memorizing dialogue and going on set and doing it. People think it's such an easy, I can do that, I can do that. Really? Okay. Well, come on out and try it. You know?
Well, I'll tell you, I applaud you for being able to do all that, because something that I always wonder is like when you're doing a movie, or you're doing a TV show, the script. Now, how many pages or dialogue do you have to memorize before you do that, or is there somewhere where it's written down to where you look off camera and you see what you got to say?
No. Maybe for the older stars. Like I've heard stories. Marlon Brando used to have cue cards, as he got older.
Yeah.
But no. There's no. Well, as far as the dialogue, how much you got to memorize is, it depends on how long your scene is. So I mean, I can't. If you have a long scene, you could have anywhere from 3 pages to 7 pages of dialogue that you have to memorize. And you can't just memorize your own dialogue. You have to be very, very familiar and know the dialogue of the other actor in the scene, or actors in the scene. Because not only do you have to have cues, you have to know what your intent is. Of what you're saying, why you're saying it, and those are important questions you have to ask. Who you are, what you're saying, why you're saying it.
So.
And then once you are able to get that emotion, intent of the scene, then you lay the lines on top of it. The lines just start to come. Although I had a rough audition yesterday, which kind of went a little difficult sometimes people, the way they write, it's hard to hold on to the words. It's hard to swallow them and make them your own. They just don't, digest in you to be able to spit out the way the dialogue is written. Sometimes it can be very difficult, make things harder on you, which I went through yesterday. Every time now and then it happens.
Wow. So how many? Just out of curiosity, how many times would you say that through your personal experience that they've had to say, okay, cut the scene, let's do this over? I mean, how many times have you had to go back and do it over till you got it right?
Well, it depends. TV, in all TV series, they don't have time to do it over and over again. So they'll give you 2, maybe 3 takes, if that, and that's rare. It's usually 2 takes, and they move on. Sometimes even 1 if they get what they're looking for, because they have so much to do. They have 7 pages of scenes to do per day, whereas in film you do 3 pages a day, and you have all day. So for instance, if you're on a TV series or TV show or whatever, and you're doing a scene, you have one aspect of the way the camera is, which one point of view, then the other point of view, and then the master shot. So you might only get 2 shots of each, which is 6 takes. Whereas in film, you could get in those three shots, you could get say 4 of the master, and then you could do 5, 6, or 8 of one over his shoulder, or one other point of view. And then the other point of view, another 5, 6. You could have up to 20, 25 takes of just one scene. Whereas in TV, you don't have that. You don't have that time. It's, boom, boom, boom. I remember when I was on Sons, I wanted to do one more take because I felt I could have done it a little bit different, a little bit better. And I said to Peter Weller, who who's the director. You guys might know him from RoboCop. He used to be RoboCop.
Uh-huh.
I said, "Can I do one more?" He says, "No." He says, "We don't have time. We're gonna move on. We're on to the next." That's just how it is, and they just want it. As soon as they get it, they move on. So it's almost kind of rushed because it's hard to do 7 pages a day, and they're on a time schedule. So like
Yeah.
I said, you get probably anywhere from 4 to 5 takes in all different shots, different shots of one scene, which is not that many, as opposed to a film where you could have 25. That's why films take so long to make.
Okay, so let me ask you this question now, because you brought up a good point. You're talking about it taking 7 pages long in a TV series, and then there are really no retakes in the TV series. So.
No, I didn't say there aren't any retakes.
Okay.
What I'm saying is just so I'm clear and so
Uh-huh.
you understand. If there's a 2-person scene,
Okay.
they'll have a master shot where they'll step back and you'll see both actors in one shot,
Uh-huh.
and then they'll probably do 2 takes of that. So then they'll go one point of view, which is say it's my point of view over my shoulder or to the left of me, facing the other actor.
Uh-huh.
And they'll maybe do 1 to 2 of those. If they get it on 2, boom. If they don't, those maybe go to 3, but it's rare. And then they switch it around and go to the other side for his point of view and my close-up, so to speak, what they'll call it. So they'll punch in on that way. So they'll do another 2 there. So it's maybe 2, 2, 2, and that's 6 takes, as opposed to a film where they could do 5, 7, 3,
Uh-huh.
5. It just depends on what they get, but they'll always do more if they have the time to do more. Like I said, they'll 3 pages as opposed to 7 pages a day.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you was like, say for instance, it's the lead actor that's rehearsing, and say the lead actor or the lead actress, say for instance, they go past 3 or 4 takes. Does the director keep on saying, "Okay, we'll try this again and again," or they just go, we'll just move on to the next scene?
No, they try to get look. They won't hire. That's why it's so hard to get hired.
Uh-huh.
They expect you to come in and then when you get on that set to do your work is already done. So you got to bring it. We're talking about TV.
Okay.
So you need to be prepared before you come on the set. Do your homework. Right. When you book the role and before you book the role, going into the audition, and then you bring that to the table. So now you go in there and you do it. Now they may say after one take is to come in and say, hey Vic, you know what I want you to do? I want you to be a little bit more, a little bit meaner, okay, or a little bit more charming. Okay,
Uh-huh.
No problem. And then they'll go back and they'll tell the other actor, he's a little bit more nervous about what's going on, with this character. And then you go in and they'll film it. Now, if you're not getting what the director wants, and you're doing over and over and over again,
Yeah.
you might get fired.
Oh, yeah.
They might fire you right on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's never happened to me, so I can't.
Yeah.
I usually, and that's why it's such a difficult process to book something, because you're not only going up against a lot of actors, but they want to make sure that the casting directors want to make sure that they can trust you on the set, that you're going to go in there and if they tell you to change it, you can change it, that you can act. It can't be just one-dimensional.
Oh yeah, yeah. I most definitely understand what you're saying, and Something else I wanted to ask you was how many different? I guess it depends on the movie, but how many different states and locations do you have to go? Do y'all have to go to shoot the movie? I mean, because I know it's got to be different locations and stuff.
That all depends on how big your role is and what your role is doing. You know, if you're in a park, then you're going to film in a park. If you're in an office, then you'll film on the studio usually, unless they put it on a location. It just depends on what your role, how big your role is, and how many scenes you have in your role. You know, you have 4 scenes in all different locations. Then you'll shoot 4 different days, or if they get it done in a day. Depends on, like I said, if it's a film, it will probably take longer. But the TV thing is, you know, it's 30 pages or 32 pages or so, and they got to get that done, you know, in 5 days.
Okay, now I know that this is probably used by a trick photographer, but how do they do like a scene? Like, say for instance, I'm just going to use this example. Say for instance, you're in a TV series, and you're good guy Tom, and then you have a twin named Stan, and you're playing 2 parts. How do they make it on the movies or in TV shows to where you see you twice, but in 2 different roles? How do they do that?
You're doing both those roles. You're taking and performing your role with another actor who's a stand-in who looks as similar as they can to you on the back and the side. You'll do your scene, and then they'll flip around and they'll get you in a different wardrobe and put you on the other side, and you'll play the other character. And then how they edit it, that's how it will come out looking like you're talking to yourself.
Wow, well, that, you know, Vic, that's interesting, because I never knew that, because I always thought that they just had the, you know, same person, you know, playing the same person. I never knew that they had somebody, you know, that looked similar to you from behind, and then they did that. I mean, I learned something new today.
Well, that's just a stand-in, and then you have to go. Then you're still doing that role. The stand-in isn't doing the role. He's just standing in, and then they'll flip around, and they'll get the dialogue from one end, and then they'll flip it around when they're done with getting you with say Joe, and you got to play John. They're going to put you in different wardrobe, and the change. And when you're ready for the John role, you'll come into the John role, and they'll put that guy who stood in for that role the other way back in that one. So it just flips around. That's how it's done.
Okay, well that is very interesting. So like another question about the movies, like say for instance there's a lake scene, and there's a car that's supposed to go over a bridge into the lake. Does the car really go over the bridge into the lake, or is the lake not really as big as it's seen on TV, or how does that work?
Well, if the car is going into the lake, it goes into the lake.
Okay.
It literally does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the actor though, they get out of the car before they go in there, or they?
Yeah, he's not in there. There's a stunt driver in there. There's usually a stunt man for everything. Fight scenes. I mean, I've never been like that. When I did Burn Notice and a few other shows and the films that needed to fight, I do the fight scene. There's a lot of actors that don't. Some of them aren't athletic.
Yeah.
And don't. So they choose to have a stand-in come in and a stunt guy come in and do the scenes. I don't. I'd rather do my own. As long as it's not up high, I'm afraid of heights.
Oh yeah. I'm with you there. I'm afraid of heights too. I don't like heights. I know that Robert De Niro and Ed Harris, they've always been inspirations to you as some of your favorite actors. But I wanted to know, have you ever had the opportunity to meet the legendary Billy Crystal or Steve Martin?
No, I have not.
Okay. What is your...
You a big fan? You a big fan?
Yes, yeah, I watched, I've watched Billy Crystal and City Slickers, and now Steve Martin. Now, I've watched. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember how many movies of Steve Martin I've watched. I mean, and Billy Crystal, you know, he's great too. He's a great comedian also, and as well as Steve Martin's. I mean, you know,
Oh yeah.
and you know,
Great actors, funny guys, comical, very good, very good.
And you know, I was also a big fan of the late Robin Williams. I love the movie he did, Mrs. Doubtfire. You know.
Oh yeah. He was terrific, boy.
He was great.
He was ahead of his time. He was ahead of his time, that guy.
He really was. He really was. What is your favorite role to play out of being the bad guy, being the detective, or the lawyers?
The bad guy.
The bad guy, okay.
Without a doubt, because you can be as bad as you want, and you have the freedom to do whatever you want, because it's never a wrong choice. Pretty much in anything is never a wrong choice. I mean, but you have to stay on certain guidelines as a detective, unless you're a bad, crooked detective. You know, like for instance, the guy was brilliant in this Training Day, which Denzel Washington played.
Yes, I remember that movie.
He was just amazing. He won the Oscar for it, but you saw how the freedom he had. That he was a bad cop, you know, and he could do whatever he could do whatever he wanted. So it gives you that freedom. But if you're playing a detective or a cop, you gotta kind of stay on certain guidelines, you know, and the protocol. Whereas a bad guy can say or do just about anything he wants, and it will never be off the rails. Make sense?
Yes, I understand what you're saying, and you know, that's pretty cool. I mean, you know, so I guess if you're a bad guy, you can be somewhere and just take something, you know, be somewhere in the scene, and you can just take something and throw it against the wall, and it not even matter, you know. You just add to your. Yeah.
You can pretend all the things that you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know. and acting, you know, that's why they call it acting, right?
That's right. Yeah. Tell us about the plays you've been in, including A Few Good Men, Orphans, and True West.
Well, True West was great, but played back. I go back years ago. This was back in college days. So, and then Few Good Men was back in when it was 2000, I think. And I played Nathan Jessup, which was the iconic role that Jack Nicholson played. I mean, nobody does it better than him, boy. He was just amazing in that film. That's probably one of my favorite films of all times. But enjoyed that. I enjoyed the stage. I wish I could play more of it. But it's not as prevalent out in LA as it is in New York. But it's something I'd like to explore eventually, go back to New York and get into a Broadway show. Orphans was I played a retarded guy, which was fun.
Well, I think he would be good, you know, going back to L.A. or, you know, even you know, on Broadway, you know, doing the plays and stuff. You know, I think it'd be good. I mean, I know Robin Streicher, who played Dorian Lord on One Life to Live. I know that since One Life to Live went off the air, that she's been doing a lot of Broadway plays and acting and stuff. And a lot of these other actors and actresses as well have been doing, different plays and stuff, on Broadway, and I mean, so.
I would love to, I always said that eventually I'd like to go back to New York and do that. And maybe, who knows how soon? Maybe soon, maybe in a couple of years, maybe in a year, who knows? But I definitely would like to go back and do that. It's such a beast and such an animal. It's such a rewarding feeling, to do. And it's like taking an intense class every single day, sometimes twice a day. So it really gets you polished and a much better actor. It used to be years ago that you did plays and then you went on to gravitate into film and TV. But now it's the opposite. A lot of it's the opposite. It's now, over the last few years, it's been basically people who have careers and names that go back and do plays, because it draws people to the theaters.
Yeah.
Nothing like a good play.
Yeah, that's right. There's not anything like a good play. And I think that's terrific now that stars that have established themselves, they can go back and be in plays and like you say, draw a crowd. And
Right.
I know now that you were also on a television show, is one of my favorites. You were on Home Improvement as a bouncer. What was
That was a long time ago.
what was that like for you? And did you, during the process, did you get to meet the one and only Tim Allen?
Yeah, I did. Nice guy. Very nice guy. That was a long time ago, man. It's about 20 years ago. Wow. Man, that was when I first got out to LA. Funny because what happened was the casting director for it was a girl. She was an assistant casting director. It was a girl who I was a manager at a restaurant, and she was a waitress, and she was a casting associate for Home Improvement at the time. So she brought me in for to audition for it, and I got it. It was pretty cool. It was fun to do. It was a small little gig, nothing big. And she brought me in for the TV show Just Shoot Me.
Oh yeah, David Spade was on there.
Right, and I booked that, and then at that point in my life, I kind of got out of acting. So I stopped acting for about 10 years, I'd say. 8 years. I kind of so there's a big gap in between. I believe it's Just Shoot Me and then Burn Notice, where I was a guest star. I booked it, and I kind of went through life experiences, and I got married and didn't work out, and I finally got back into the acting back in, because I missed it so much back in '08 is when I started the process, and that from that point on is when I really look at my career, not anything before that, because before that it was more just dabbling in and out. So from '08 on is when I really started to put the focus in it, and things started to progress little by little. So it's a long process. It's not like it used to be. So now, years ago, they used to be able to get for a guest star or a co-star role, they would get, the casting directors would get anywhere from 200 to 250 submissions back before around 2006, 2005. Now what's happened is that the computers have changed everything. So now what they're getting per co-star, per guest star, or on a show, they're getting anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500 submissions. So just do the math on that. If you have 4 guest stars and 4 co-stars on one show, you know, you're looking at 2,000. You're looking at 20,000 submissions. You know, so now what they do is they got to go through every role and all of those submissions that come in, and then they take and they pull out 20. So you get they'll pull 20 people, or maybe 40, sometimes 40, but usually 20 per role. So out of say 2,500 people that have been submitted by agents and managers and whatever, they'll bring it down to 20 people that they're bringing in for to audition. Those odds aren't too strong in your favor, you know. So it helps to know certain people and to be working on your craft to be a good actor, to be able to get that break when you get that opportunity. You have to be able to shine.
Yeah, man, that is that process sounds like a headache in a half shell. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean for casting directors, I think it is. I believe
yeah.
In fact, that the girl I was just telling you about, who did the casting in Home Improvement and Just Shoot Me, she was a casting associate. She's now one of the biggest, if not the biggest, casting director in Hollywood for TV. She does The Walking Dead. She did. The name of the company is Bialy Thomas. Her name is Sherry Thomas.
Uh-huh.
They do The Walking Dead. They do Better Call Saul. They did Breaking Bad. They did The Unit. I mean, they've done an astronomical amount of casting.
Wow.
I keep telling her, we're good friends. I keep telling her, come on, bring me in for a lead role here. I need to have a lead role.
Yeah. She should. You know, she should.
Let's go. You were my waitress years ago.
Yeah.
She was worked for me as one of the waitresses. I was one of the managers.
Yeah.
But now we're very good friends. We all get together time to time. As a matter of fact, about a month ago we were together.
Well, that's wonderful, and yeah, she should bring you in. I think that'd be great, and
Yeah, right.
I know there are a lot of Sons of Anarchy fans out there, and you played the Night White Guard. What was that like for you, being on a few episodes of Sons of Anarchy, playing the White Night Guard?
That was fabulous. It was very well. The set was incredible. Studio they used, that they built. It's unfortunate. Well, I'm fortunate. I'm grateful for it. It's just unfortunate that it was the final season. Because I think that what I was told from Wendy O'Brien, who's the casting director, she had said that Kurt Sutter really liked that character and wanted to keep that character around because he was a bad guy in the prison. You know, he was the corrupt guy who was doing all the wrong things, and they wanted to keep it around. Just they didn't have. That was the final season of the show, so I got the final 3 episodes. But it was great to work with Peter Weller, who I've always been a fan of too. And he's a really, really good director and knows what he wants. He's an actor's director. And what really amazed me was all the groupie girls that hang around. I've never seen in all the years I've been working, the amount of women that are sitting outside the gate all day long, waiting for the lead guys that come in. It's unbelievable.
Wow. So I guess you would say it was kind of like back when Elvis was living. I mean, you know.
Well, probably not as much as Elvis, but it was
Yeah.
very shocking. We shot in a couple of prisons, and we shot on the studio, and everywhere we shot, there was a crowd of people, but I'd say 95% of them were women.
Wow.
And it was incredible, and it was fun. It was a lot of. They have a great following. They did a great job, and they treated everyone really, really well.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of fans out there that watched Sons of Anarchy, and they were sad when it went off the air. And I know that now people love the, like you were saying, your friend, this casting director, Sherry Thomas, you're saying that she helps out with The Walking Dead, and I know there's a lot of fans out there that love The Walking Dead. I mean, so.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she is the casting director. Yeah, she was Bialy Thomas was the original casting director on it, and they still cast for it. I told her, I said, come on, I'm right for that show. You got to bring me in on that. She started laughing. But, good show.
Now, you play Rick on My Family Circus, and my good friend, who I've had on the show 2 times now, Jack London. I know you know who Jack London is.
Yes, sir. Talented kid.
Yes, he is. He's a very, very good actor. You play his dad on that show. What is that like?
You're not going to like his dad, that's for sure. He's definitely not. He's kind of an abusive dad, and I always seem to get stuck in that role, those kind of roles, the bad guy, the white supremacist or something like that. I think something has to do with the face. But he wrote it, and we shot it, and there's some good. We'll see how it comes out. There was some violence in it that he wanted in there that he wanted to depict.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see once it's ready, if it's finished editing and up and running.
Well, that'll be great to see, because I look forward to seeing the shows on YouTube. I believe he says he's gonna put them on his YouTube channel whenever they're finished editing and everything, and I look forward to that. And how did you get into being a producer and producing and directing?
Well, I helped produce a couple shows, a show and a web series, and there was a couple of other films. What happened was when you help out putting things together as far as locations or casting actors, different stuff like that, funding, you become a producer. So I had a lot of resources on certain things, and was approached by the people who had the project. Can you help me out with this, or can you help me out with that? And that's how I became a producer. As far as the directing, so I produced, putting that together, that's what you do. You produce locations, you produce actors, you produce with financing. So with the directing, it was just kind of came natural. He needed a director for a couple of episodes of spy web series I did, which turned out to be a pretty good series. Didn't really go anywhere, but it's up on YouTube. You can watch it. There's about 9 episodes on there. So, but I directed about, I think it was about 4 or 5, with a collaboration with the guy who wrote the show. I also helped him collaborate with actors. I helped them write it, and I helped them, like I said, cast the actors, put locations together. So that's how I fell into that. I enjoy actually directing. I wouldn't mind eventually down the road doing some more of that, but that's not really what's on my focus now.
Well, that sounds really interesting, and I mean, I guess you're a jack of all trades. I mean, you started out in the NFL, you got an injury, then you went into acting. You also have done some directing. You've done some producing. Have you done any voiceover work for cartoons?
You know something? I have not, and it's funny you said that, because I always felt and thought that I would have my voice would be funny in a cartoon. And I just haven't had the opportunity yet. Hopefully someday I will.
Well, I hope someday you do. And I was going to mention something. In a lot of movies, in basically all movies, you have all humans in the movies. But in a recent movie that I saw, I was a little bit surprised by it. But I was actually astonished at how the movie went about. The director and the producer of the movie Jungle Book that recently came out. For those who don't know, the boy that played Mowgli, he was the only human actor in that whole movie. Everybody else, it was animals, So, I mean, that's very rare. That's very rare to see an actor at that young of an age being the only human actor through the whole movie, and just the rest of us animals. So
Wow.
I thought that was really good. The way they put that together and did that.
I'll have to watch that. That movie on Netflix.
Yeah, it's really good. You'll really enjoy it. You'll really enjoy the acting that he does. He portrays in that movie. And if you were not a actor, ex-NFL football player, a producer, or a director, what would you be?
Probably a coach, head football coach.
Okay. Okay.
Well, why do you laugh? Why do you laugh?
Oh, I just laugh. I think you would be a.
You didn't expect to hear that?
No, I didn't. I really didn't.
Well, yeah, probably either football. I would say a football coach or a restaurant bar owner. But I think I'd gravitate more to football coach.
Yeah, I think you would be. I understand in the sense of why you said football coach, because I know that you had a injury in the NFL, unfortunate injury, and wasn't able to continue your career. But you being a coach, you could probably guide the team and guide the kids and everything, or even if they were professional football, you could guide them and lead them and direct them in the right path to score more touchdowns or get more field goals, or So I can see your philosophy of choosing that.
Right. Yeah, that's what I would be, definitely.
And I want to ask you, can you tell the fans where they can follow you at on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media?
Yeah. At Vic Stagliono, at Vic Stag 45.
Okay.
There's my Twitter. And my hold on a second. Well, what do you want? You want for my Facebook?
Yeah,
Facebook is under Victor Stagliono.
Okay.
And my Twitter is under @VicStag45.
Okay. And fans, you can follow him on Twitter, and Facebook is under Victor Stagliono. I'll send you a request on Facebook. I'll put the show on your timeline that we did, so you can watch it. And I was actually trying to find you on Twitter, because I was gonna put the poster on there and that I had made, and I didn't know you what your Twitter was. So now I do. So I'll
that's one thing I got to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
I need to get a little bit more engaging with the Twitter.
Yeah.
I have doing a little bit more of it, start tweeting and getting into doing that. But my handle is at Vic Stag 40, the number 45.
Okay.
My football number.
Okay. Oh, that's your football number.
Right.
Okay. Well, great. Well, Vic, I want to thank you so much for being on the WSE Lounge today. It was an honor to learn so much from you about Hollywood and how the movies work and the TV series, and it was great to have you on the show and learn so much about you and your career and what you've done. And I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and I'll be sure and keep in touch with you, sir, and hope you have a great Easter.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Brian. I enjoyed it, and I really appreciate your time, sir. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Take care.
Okay.
God bless.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Vic Stagliono, actor Vic Stagliono. And I hope you all enjoyed that show. That was a great show. I know I enjoyed it. And coming up, our next show will be next Monday, April the 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be welcoming former WWF, because WWE was WWF at the time. I'll be welcoming former WWF, WCW wrestling superstar, Bobby Starr will be on the show on the WSC Lounge. That will be next Monday, April 17th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So until then, I'll see you on Monday on the WSC Lounge. So long, folks. God bless.
I'm Rick Stagliono at Vic Stagliono Hospital. Please take correct and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. Extension recording range, Cable Agent, and you're listening to WSE Lounge. Hey, this is Senior Actor Jack London, and you are listening to the WSE Lounge. My children, this is Thompson, the vice for sleep, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge. Starting the NWA North American Heavyweight Champion, you're dialed in and listening to the WSE Lounge. Hey, what's up? This is Mark Anthony Samuel, the BBC's General Officer. Meet me at Dealership Live. Toll us straight to the WSE Lounge. Hey, guys, I'm Robert Farmer Watkins. I'm with doing quartermain on General Hospital, and you're listening to the WSE Lounge.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great edition of the WSE Lounge. I am joined today by some of the cast of the movie Marijuana.
Marijuana, my brother. Marijuana.
Marijuana. Thank you for that correction. Thank you.
Oh, no worries, my friend. I appreciate you.
Oh, you're very welcome. I'm joined by actor Jack London, and I'm joined by I believe it's Stephanie Landers. Is that right?
Samantha Lavender.
Samantha Lavender. Sorry about that. Samantha Lavender and the other person.
Julia
Volta. I don't know if I can pronounce that last name.
Just Julius work.
Okay, Julius, that's fine. Okay. And director Robert Ashwell.
That's me. Yeah. Awesome.
Great to have you on, sir. Great to have all of you on.
I appreciate you for having us. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh, it's
Brian. Love you, brother.
it's no problem. Great to hear your voice too, Jack. Hope you're doing good and everything. Robert, when did you this question's for you, Robert. When did you know that you wanted to be a director?
Oh, well, sir, a long time ago, back in my humble youth, I wanted to be an actor.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be a musician, and I kind of really got into the idea that I loved writing. Like, I loved words on the page. I would find myself, like, loving reading the scripts more so than I would, like, acting in the class. I mean, to be honest, I think I just, back in the day, I mean, I just wanted attention. Like, now I know exactly, like, it's been a while now. Like, I've been around the block for a second, and filmmaking is what I love. I love storytelling. Storytelling in any form. If it's right here with you on a podcast, which is why I love podcasts, I mean, storytelling in any form.
That's very good to know. To know that and to have that passion of love for that, and that's wonderful. So let me ask you this: how did the concept and the idea of Margiana, is that how you pronounce it, Margiana?
Oh, like marijuana.
Marijuana. Instead of marijuana, it's marijuana.
Yeah. So pretty much, the concept came up where, you know how people sometimes go out into the desert and they'll do like that Burning Man, Joshua Tree, trip on shrooms kind of thing?
Yes.
Well, I was doing the research on that kind of stuff, and like doing the research, it turns out like that comes from like really old school, like ancient actual ceremonies. So, my sci-fi brain kind of Doctor Who'd it a little bit, and I was just really psyched about what if there was some real dream demon, slinging his curse via, an herb you smoked,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's kind of how the concept came. It was a combination of smoking weed, watching a lot of Doctor Who, and also loving the concept of Joshua Tree and Burning Man, brother.
Wow. So kind of like Cheech and Chong meets Swamp Thing.
Yep, there we go. Oh my goodness.
Brian, why I love you for saying that, brother, is because the way that I mentioned it, it's basically Clerks, or Clerks 2 meets The Nightmare on Elm Street. So it's funny that you say that.
Yep, yeah. Evil Dead meet Jay and Silent Bob, if I'm lucky. But real quick, just quick question. I mean, while we're here, I mean, it's a podcast, right? Like we're here talking.
Yes.
My question is, like, are you like a big horror movie fan, or I mean, what's your stance on marijuana as a whole? Because I also feel that this is kind of a political statement in a way. I mean, I know what the movie is, but at the same time, I mean, things are changing in the country at the moment.
Well, my stance on horror movies and marijuana, my stance on horror movies, some horror movies I like. When it comes down to like Freddy Krueger and Jason and all that, I don't really like all that. I mean, I don't know. That still spooks me to death. I don't know why, but and marijuana, as long as marijuana is used for a purpose of helping somebody with health and helping them to stay alive, I'm all for that. But if it's like just using it to be using it, not for no medical help or anything like that, I don't really go for that,
White not, yeah, no, I'm with you, yeah.
Yeah. So, how long have you been acting, Samantha?
Oh, I've been acting for,
Can you interrupt for 1 second, Brian? My phone's about to die. It's bleeding up on you. We're gonna get right back on another phone.
Okay. Okay, I got you.
well, I've been acting for 3 years and singing for 6.
Wow.
Also, one.
So, you can go ahead and, if you want to, switch phones, and we'll continue this question on the other phone.
Yeah,
Whenever-
do that.
Okay.
All right, we'll wrap it up, brother.
Okay. Hello, everybody. We'll be back on the show